What up, what up? Post show number 138. Packed episode today. We talked about a lot of movies, a lot of live action stuff. So, live action in the front, anime in the back. We start off with The Substance. We're still, as you'll be able to see, continuing down our 2024 Oscars review of all the Oscar nominated movies. We're going to try and have all those done by the time the Oscars air. And then we'll try and make like some predictions and some picks before they all come out. So we start with the substance, then we do the apprentice, challengers, the whale from the Oscars a couple of years back, Severance, season two, episodes 2 and 3. Spoiler warning for those. Solo leveling season two, but the episode numbers are weird. Episodes 16 and 17 of the whole series. Sakamoto days, episodes 3 and 4. Briefly touch on Dragon Ball Daima and the fact that it's nearly over. Then we've got some news, some Fantastic Four trailers. I think that's like actually at the front of the show, but some other stuff. Yeah, hopefully you enjoy. Grant, hit him with that music. Oh, hey there, Grant.
Hey, David.
What's up, bro?
How we doing?
I'm exhausted, man. I'm feeling it. I was telling you off mic, like they say, and yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the I don't know, the crush of like the blue season. And the exhaustion of the rat race. I think that's what it is. It's funny. It's like you give and you take. Like the having routine dialed is so good for me. But I also feel like my days evaporate.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I'm just robotically doing one thing into the next. Anyway, I'm just grumpy because
The weather's been awful, like truly awful.
Yeah.
It's when I came, like, because we had that big snowstorm yesterday.
Yeah.
And I got home. I'm talking to Leanna. And I'm like, I didn't know that was coming. I was
Yeah.
like, it's just one of those things where like you miss the weather forecast for one day, and
Yeah.
you're just out at work. You're like, oh, I had no idea this was in the cards. So this is now the rest of our week.
It's also
Yeah.
all this weird shit that you're used to by now, like the weird domestic chores that are now part of my day to day, like having a recycling day. Like I know that's the very first world, but it's like I never had a recycling day before. Now, granted, it's not like it turned my world upside down, but it's like that in conjunction.
Oh, but when you miss it, it's that one hurts.
Or you throw a party, and you've got whatever, like all this recycling. But it's that in conjunction with the 411 other things I have to do that day, and then your poor life partner is like, hey, you think you could clean the air fryer real quick? And it's like, you mean with all this time I have? Tell you what, I'll throw that air fryer through the fucking window. No, I'm not that guy, but I thought those words, Grant. I fucking thought.
Do we delay bedtime by 10 minutes and deal with it in the morning, or
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm 33. I'm talking like I'm 47.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know what I don't know what the answer is other than substance abuse, and it's tough being sober. I'll tell you that.
And anime.
And anime.
That's their saving grace.
Before we get into anime, I think we have to talk about like the true heavy hitter. And that is, I assume you're really closely following this scandal between Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, and Ryan Reynolds.
You know what? I am like a little keyed in on that.
I actually can't get away from it. I don't know.
Yeah, the
I
algorithm
guess
wants us to see it hard. Yeah.
the algorithm's pushing it hard, and I guess I don't want to say it's rare for celebrity beef to happen, but it's probably a little different. Like, I think the situation is actually kind of unique in that, like, they came off promoting a movie into arguing about it, and then she steals Final Cut, and then they immediately talk shit about each other, and then now they're suing each other for hundreds of millions of dollars. It's quite messy.
Well, it's like the 1-2 of like it started off as like the court of public opinion, and then like almost immediately became like actual like litigation. I was like, oh wow, like they immediately stepped this up. But I don't know, like it is eerily reminiscent to the Johnny Depp stuff and Amber Heard. Like Johnny Depp is like, okay, like I've enjoyed some stuff he's in. Amber Heard, like I had no like association to, but like as like that went on, like it was so ugly, like
right.
and like like it was too on, it was too involved, the internet was too invested because it was on like that court TV too, so people were watching that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they
and it was COVID, I think, around
it was
that time.
I think they had documentaries about that trial before it was over. It was wild.
But the difference with this one is like, I have no association with this Justin Baldoni guy. He he sounds like a real piece of work, being honest. Like, but like I don't like Ryan Reynolds or Blake Lively all that much. So it's like whether they're on the good side of things or not, like they just like annoy me, and it's like I'm rooting for no one in this situation. So it's kind of like, you know, trash, you know, like kind of like trash TV or whatever. But
for sure, I didn't
watching
actually,
Jerry.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd actually get into it. But to your point about it's reminiscent of the Johnny Depp stuff. I mean, at first I was like, what do you mean? Like, as far as I'm aware, there's no intense abuse. But like, one thing that it is very similar to, which is what I'm sure you're probably referencing, is the more you read, the more you get the vibe that everyone sucks here. You're like, oh, all of you guys suck. Like, also, do you want the theory that I'm sure I'm not the first person to have, but like, do you want, if we cut through the middle and like read between the lines, you want to know what my take is on what happened?
I love a take.
Nobody's asking. Take. I mean, I think they clearly hooked up, and it went.
Oh,
I think it went so fucking sideways. I mean, I don't know, all the text that he's leaking and all the shit she's saying. It's just like, what the fuck were you two doing? What were you two doing at work?
The thing that like makes me laugh is like almost with the exception of like him and them a couple times. It's weirdly like they're lawyers, which is common. Like the lawyers do all the talking in the news, but it's like their voices via the lawyer, which seems like kind of new-ish. And I kind of find that angle a little funny. And it's like, you know, but like they're not even saying that this is a quote from Blake Lively, but like it's clearly like a quote from Blake Lively. I don't know. It's if you know, like I said, it's good trash reading and viewing. I guess more reading than viewing, but
a very wild, like it's a very wild PR disaster to come out of a movie that no one cares about anyway. You know what I mean? It's like the biggest story about the movie is the star and the director hating each other. Like, it's not about...
I do believe it did pretty decent business.
Shit.
Like,
what was it called?
It Ends With Us? Is that what it's called? I think it Ends With Us.
Fuck, you're right. I'm wrong. Fuck, it did great.
Yeah, dude. It's my understanding is like the author is like one of the like just kind of not like, again, I don't think it's like it's not like those smut fantasy books that are like big right now, but it's like a really popular author right now. She's
2016 novel of the same name. It Ends With Us. Colleen Hoover.
Yeah, she's kind of a big deal. Big stuff.
Did 350 million worldwide off a budget of 25 million. What the fuck do I know? There you go. Well, scrap everything from before that, Grant. We'll start rolling now. No, we're gonna keep this in here because sometimes I miss. But let it be known, I've been known not to miss. And when Superman bombs, you'll be coming back to me.
Yo, did you see the Fantastic Four trailer?
I did, and so like speaking of which, like I didn't really do a whole lot for me. I don't know. Did that do a lot for you?
I'll be honest. I saw it in a reel that was like a third of the size, and then some guy like something like you would watch, like a reactor is watching it.
Oh, okay.
And I was like about to like go somewhere and do something. I'm like, I'm not gonna go like search this out. I'll just watch this video.
Oh, okay.
But it was just like the guy going like, "Flame on!" Like he was like waiting for that moment. Like never was coming. He just kept saying "flame on."
That's funny.
At various points. But I don't know. Like it looked. My one take is, the Rock guy, the Thing.
Yes.
Kind of works. Like like. That was like kind of like my iffy of like, oh, like how are they going to do this time? Are they going to do like practical or like an in between? It's definitely like the old school Thing look, just from what like you know, just being around Marvel over the past few years. Like I kind of recognize that character, but it kind of looked good. It was like a little over top the cooking scene in the trailer of like
that was weird.
Like, okay, come on, like let's leave the bear in the past there, but like,
I don't know. The dialogue in the trailer seemed weird and like wooden to me. But anyway, like. To your point about the Thing and just the effects in general, like one of the benefits of seeing so many iterations of these movies, just like with Spider-Man, is like, how are they going to do it this time? Is it, you know, do we get progressively better every single time? I remember like the Tom Holland Spider-Man was the first one to have emoting eyes on the suit. Do you remember that? And that was like a holy shit moment. And just like we've come so far with with mocap since probably the last iteration. I was also curious about how they're going to do the thing. But yeah, I don't know. I'll probably end up seeing it.
Oh yeah, it's
anyway.
It's gonna be a big loud movie. That'd be a fun IMAX one, honestly. Like a really bombastic kind of.
We haven't done a popcorn movie in a while, dude. And I'll tell you this: after seeing The Substance, I think I'm gonna fucking need one. Let's roll right into that.
Yeah, I do love it. Did you love it?
No, I'm sorry, dude. It's so funny because Grant took me to Nosferatu, and also for the record, like this is us trying to continue our run of seeing a lot of these Oscar movies before they come out, and we're doing well. I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, super ahead.
And Nosferatu is not nominated for Best Picture, but I believe
Best Picture. It's got a lot of stuff.
Quite a few of the technical awards.
Yeah.
And ironically, like I mean, maybe not ironically, but I'm not a horror movie guy. I said this very like upfront to the audience and also to Grant when we went, and which is why he takes me to movies like that and what was the South Korean one that was awful, not awful.
Oh, Old Boy.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
that was a wild experience, but I loved Nosferatu. I loved everything about it. I was talking and raving about that film for like weeks afterwards. Totally obsessed with Robert Eggers, and he's like right on my list of everything I need to consume once we're through.
I was going to say, have you kind of jumped in any of his other stuff yet, or are you just focusing on the Oscar stuff still?
Oscar stuff first, and then he's like priority number one, along with Kurosawa. I don't know. I want to go deep on that shit. I've seen zero Kurosawa movies, but all of this to say, sorry, I've kind of buried the lead here.
No.
Like the Substance that I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
No, I know you wouldn't. I told you wouldn't.
You did.
But I was very, very forward about that. I was like, this is not a Dave movie, but now you have to see it because it's in the Best Picture.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm not here to be like, this is a dog shit movie for dog shit people. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think, like, I understand, relatively speaking, like, why people like it. I also do think, like, especially, like, maybe the first half or 50 or 60%, like it's very, like, aesthetic movie. It's shot in a really cool way.
That soundtrack, like it just kind of like kicks in when it goes to like the other her.
Yes. Oh yeah, the soundtrack is really, really effective. I like Demi Moore in it. I don't know about the whole Oscar hype for Demi Moore. I mean,
I think it's like I think like historically, like body transformations or like that kind of thing is really popular. So I think that's kind of like where that's going. Like she does kind of like bear, like I think there's like two like very specific scenes. I think kind of like, oh, that's like what got her in, like where she's about to go on the date and she could kind of like is attacking herself with the makeup. And
that's a good one. Good scene.
Very, and there's like I think another similar, the first transformation scene too, like.
Astounding,
Like I think there's like some really good like physical performances by her. I honestly think it's deserved. Like I am a really big fan of this movie.
Right.
I can see why some people would say like, oh, like it's not like a lot of monologuing and acting, but like she.
You make a good point. That's fair. And just to wrap up on my review, like the set design is astounding. Like the colors are like actually beautiful to look at. Like it's really cool.
That sunburst kind of feeling to
I also like how big Dennis Quaid was. I like those directive choices. I don't know. I thought there's a lot I liked.
So gross, him fucking mucking away on the shrimp or whatever it was.
Yeah, so I'm going to give this in like the pros column.
Yeah.
Even though it disturbed me throughout the whole movie, is like their sound design is unbelievable. Like the way they were able to get mics in, near chewing sensations and tearing noises. Water, ooey gooey, blood noises, all that stuff they did so effectively, so much so that like it was grotesque. You know what I mean? Like the sounds gross.
Body horror. It was like it's. And
I'm not used to that, right? So I was just like the scene you brought up, him eating shrimp early. I was like, oh my god, like this is disgusting, and we're not even doing anything gross yet.
No, we're still working up to it. Yeah.
Okay, last part, Grant. I think like the third act of the movie, I was like,
way too long.
Way too long.
I agree. Yeah.
Way too long. They crossed firmly over into like cheesy territory, and I was like,
I agree.
I don't. I think like spoiler alert, right? It's
I think
spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah.
I mean, I think the movie should end when Margaret Qualley kills Demi Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking be done like that.
Yeah.
It's tragic. It's so violent. That whole scene is like really good.
Mm-hmm.
Of
and then it just drags like 22 minutes.
What are we doing
more?
Here?
It is too much. Genuinely, the first 2/3 of the movie are like really focused, and they're really kind of getting the message across. My only nitpick with the movie is like when Margaret Qualley is building like her storage chamber. I was like, that is so professionally done. Like, I want to hire her as a contractor for like any additions we need to the house. I was like, how did she just like learn to like perfectly make that?
It's
that would be like a month project.
You're absolutely right. It's funny because like it's weird what audiences get hung up on, right? We talked about this a million times, but like I remember being like, she gets the recommendation to me, and then she gets the package with the substance and the kit, and I was like, okay, I mean, all of this is of course ludicrous, but like they've done, they've labeled it, they've set like rules within the world, switching every 7 days, the food pack. I was like, you know what, like they're
24/7 customer service, like immediate response. Where I thought that was a nice little touch.
They're making like an honest effort to answer the biggest questions. They never mention like what she pays for it or anything, and I was like, okay, I would have liked to see some of that.
You think so? You don't think that would have bogged it down just like a little too inside into it?
You're right. I don't know. I wanted to know what the arrangement was just a touch more, but I think they did enough that I kind of like I suspended my sense of disbelief. But I did also clock the construction thing that you mentioned, and I was like, okay, that's a little weird. Like, how hard is it to like add a 45-second sequence of Margaret Qualley calling a handyman or a group of them
in a bathroom? There's water piping everywhere, and she just starts going into that wall. I was like, that easily could have been.
They tried. You could tell they tried because they have her walking around knocking on the walls to see if it's hollow. But I was like, just instead of this scene, put a quick time lapse of a reno or something, or if that's too complex, cut it entirely and put the body in the closet. Like. In a different room, like that was a little weird, but anyway, that is
it's just a nitpick. It was just a funny little.
But you're right. We had the same one. Anyway, wild. Yeah, I didn't see that coming. I didn't know Dennis Quaid was in the movie. I was kind of excited about that.
It was a surprise for me as well.
Oh really?
When he bought it, yeah, I had no idea. I knew the only two people was Margaret Qualley and Demi Moore that I knew about.
I know this isn't popular, especially today, but Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh, okay.
No, but Ellen used to do this segment, which they do on Impractical Jokers, and they've done on comedy shows forever, where she'll send a person or a celebrity into a public situation, and she's got a mic in their ear, and they have to say what she tells them to say.
Sure. Yeah.
And anyway, there's this fun clip that I laugh every time I see Dennis Quaid, because he has this weird nostalgic part for me. I think he's in that Parent Trap movie, right?
Yeah.
With Lindsay Lohan playing twins.
Anyway, it was a big one.
For us, for the 90s kids, listener, let us know if Parent Trap means anything to you at all. But anyway.
I showed her to Corinne, blew her mind. She was like, that's two people, right? I'm like,
yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, movies like that are, Armie Hammer and Social Network. Unbelievable. Anyway.
Talking about unpopular.
Yeah, no kidding. Can't think of a cannibal joke. But Ellen sends Dennis Quaid into a Starbucks, and her instructions to him are just in your loudest booming voice. Walk in and say, Dennis Quaid wants a coffee. Like he has to talk in the third person the whole time. I was like, oh, this poor bastard. But he like really goes for it. I don't know anything about Dennis Quaid other than that.
Well, I could tell you that's very on brand. Like for years, I remember when I was living in Ottawa with a friend of ours, and there was this like viral clip going around that ended up being like a College Humor skit.
Oh, okay.
And I think it was like in relation to the Christian Bale freak out on set.
Yes.
And so they did like Dennis Quaid did one with College
Humor.
It was him? But it was like,
I've seen that. I didn't know it was.
There's literally to this day like he has a line delivery of calling someone Dopey the Dick. that like it's just the greatest like off-camera delivery, and I think about that all the time.
I knew College Humor did a spoof. I'd seen it so long ago. I didn't realize it was Dennis Quaid until you just said that. That's funny. Yeah,
very angry voice. Good angry voice.
Yes, he did. Booming old man, fill the room. Really pulls off a suit in this movie. Such a tacky asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So that's the substance. What do you want? Do you have any movies you want to cover?
I did watch. I watched a few movies actually over the past 2
Oscar
weeks.
flicks?
Last year's or the year before. Actually, no. I did watch The Apprentice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, really enjoyed it. Going in, I listened to the interview with like Sebastian Stan was on The Big Picture. He was on Marin, and like definitely talked about The Apprentice a little bit, not too much, but I was like going in like just with the current climate of like that man.
Of course.
Like, is it going to be like
his name? It's a biopic about
Trump. Yeah. The Apprentice. People can figure that out.
Yeah, yes.
But like to see, going like, oh, is this going to be like a super polarizing like one way or the other, or is it going to like underplay it? But it's Sebastian Stan. I'd find that very surprising. Like if he, like after seeing A Different Man and then going to The Apprentice, the dude's got insane range.
And
but like
I think artistic integrity and choice. His projects, especially post Marvel, have been like deliberate. It feels like
incredible. Yeah.
So it's hard to picture him making some puff or propaganda piece for either side.
Yeah. So all I'll say is like it's pretty obvious. Like I think it's all more or less based on like known history. Like there was a couple things like I didn't know. I do gotta say like. I think I can't remember if we had talked about this like when in a group chat or what, but there was one, I'll just say it, like I guess like a warning for people, like there's like a pretty significant like sexual assault scene in the movie, and like like it's like very it's like a like a horrifying moment and this and that, but like the entire time the scene. And it just goes like with our association to the to Donald Trump, like I just found it so surprising, like either this is like fact like on the record and like there's no disputing it or fighting it, and like it couldn't just be made up because like he is such a litigious person, like I feel like I've seen, and everything he says like we see like it's in every article. I just, my biggest takeaway from the movie was like that's crazy that, like I didn't hear about like him arguing like some stuff specifically in the movie, and I think you actually had mentioned like his camp has officially said like the movie is awful and dog shit and this and that, but
yeah, the White House press secretary has gone on record like at their briefings just being like, it's a piece of crap movie by bad artists, etc. Like, I think they have made attempts to distance themselves from it, but like I'm also not in the absolute loop on the most hyper recent.
Yeah, but history, right? But Sebastian Stan and Jeremy Strong are like Jeremy Strong is on one, and it's like he is so good, so dialed in, and like he's
nominated as well, isn't he?
Yeah. There's like a recurring shot. There's like this one club in the movie that they go to. It's like like a
Mar-a-Lago.
No, like in New York City. It's like when Donald
Trump.
Yeah, it's like before Donald Trump is like he is like Donald Trump or whatever. Like he's still trying to make a name for himself, I guess. And Jeremy Strong's character like clocks him, and it's like The Shining, like where he's on the other side of the club, and the camera's just like he's in between like two walls, or like he's in like a back area. And just the way the camera like zooms in on like his demonic look of like kind of like staring at like Sebastian Stan, of like trying to assess the character or whatever. I was like, that's like it's a really good shots movie. Like it's kind of like a good like movie nerd movie. But again, final notes. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I was genuinely engaged the whole movie. The gradual progression of Sebastian Stan as Donald Trump, like it wasn't just like 2025 version of him. Like there was like you actually felt like the phases, and the movie's kind of shot like grainy, like in the 80s at certain points.
Do you meet him roughly in that? Like, are we talking like we covered decades plural of time?
Yeah. Okay. I think you get him from like mid-late 70s to 80s 90s.
Okay, so it gives Sebastian Stan probably a lot of time to like develop the mannerisms in the character.
And like there's like one like towards like the end of the movie, there's just like a scene in an office, and like you can like like that's the guy I know today.
That's
like,
wild.
Yeah, it's like you can. It's just such like a. I don't know. It's like watching Dracula come out of his fucking casket.
Right.
It's just like, oh, there he is. Like, But no, I did enjoy it. It's definitely worth a watch, honestly. Like politics aside or whatever,
Of
I
course.
think it's a good movie, very well made, and two really really strong performances.
That's interesting to hear, man. Because as you and the audience probably know, I'm a big Sebastian Stan fan, and yeah, I listened to his Marin interview, which you recommended, which was outstanding. And yeah, the vibe I got was that like he, as an actor, was not interested in like a biopic of like let's just play the greatest hits. That's like a giant hit piece on like why this guy is the worst person on the planet, etc. And the guy who made it is like Sebastian Stan's foreign born, right? He's from Romania, and so is the director of the film, whose name escapes me. But the way he explained it is that it very much feels like a film written and directed by a person who's like an outsider, like who's watching it happen, right? Watching Trump on the way, as opposed to like, you know, looking at present day and kind of looking backwards. It's like, let's just try and figure out how we got to this one point. And yeah, it's funny because I'm super stoked that Sebastian's nominated for an Oscar for it, but otherwise,
I wish it was for a different man. Genuinely, like the better movie, but I understand.
Really, yeah, okay.
The one. Yeah.
But
you have to watch that.
I will watch both. But it's funny because, as you know, like otherwise, my kind of annoying thing I get annoyed about is the biopic Oscar, which like wins disproportionately versus every other lead
Timmy's
actor.
got this one in the bag.
Who?
Timmy's got this one.
Yeah, it seems split between him and Adrian Brody, right? But likely Timmy Chalamet, and also for a biopic. So
we should do our Oscar picks.
I got to get through this. How much time do we have?
It's March. So
okay, so yeah, let me wrap up on mine. But then I agree. We should do them on the pod. I'm sure that's what you meant.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
But I guess other movies. I watched Challengers.
Damn it, man! You're ahead of me everywhere.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. Like I'm such a big fan of the Big Picture podcast, and they really pumped it up. Like it should have been nominated for all this stuff.
This is what I hear everywhere.
I did enjoy it. It was good. The soundtrack is phenomenal, like front to back. I've been listening to it nonstop. It's a Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross one.
Yeah.
So yeah, just incredible, really incredible stuff. But I did enjoy that. Zendaya, she's one. That's the thing. Like
Does she cross the boundary in this film? Like to me, I mean, okay, so I haven't seen Euphoria.
Yeah.
In which
neither have I.
I understand it's probably a much more dramatic role. But, and I hate to say this, but to me, she is still Mary Jane, right? Like this is like her. I know she's gone on record talking about like this is her big like I'm a leading woman movie.
You feel that in the movie for sure. I think there's something like about her, like, you know, like I even had the problem in Dune and in Spider-Man 2. Like I would never say she's a bad actor. Like I genuinely don't think that, but there is just something about her that kind of feels like outside of the movie. Like sometimes it feels like she's just kind of like plugged in.
Sure.
You know, like it doesn't always like blend super well.
Yeah.
This was probably the closest thing to like, oh, like I buy her as like a very powerful, like driven person, and you know the way she a manipulator. Like it's a big part of this movie, like the way she like messes with these two guys. You know, one of them being her husband.
Right.
But again, I really enjoyed it.
That was a trailer I was rather irritated about. Is I watched the trailer for that because we're talking about what we're gonna watch next, and it was one of those trailers. I was like, okay, like I was sold 30 seconds in, and it was just giving me the whole plot of the movie, and I was very irritated about that because I everything I knew about the movie was probably what happens what I assumed to be in Act 1 when they're kids or teens or whatever it is.
Yeah, it crosses like a 25-year period.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of it's a tennis movie. I kind of realized it after the fact, and it was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like the back and forth between like a certain time period and now, it's like a tennis match kind of is the idea, I guess.
Interesting. I didn't know about all the time stuff, but anyway, I'm gonna get to it. Despite it not being on the Oscar list, but like it just seems like a movie I need to see.
It's very much up your alley.
I'd like to watch good drama. I think I'd like to watch Anora next.
Yeah. I think. Well, I'd really like to see The Brutalist.
I know. I don't know if we're gonna catch that local show, but
no, I don't think so.
But no, we both have to see it.
Yeah. Well, it's the biggest contender in that fight, but
oh my god.
But I guess just to wrap up my movie marathon this week, I watched The Whale.
Oh, Brendan Fraser.
Yeah,
Oh
did you see that?
No.
It's been like, I'm super behind. I wanted to see it at the time, and I had I was like, oh, let's just fire it up finally.
Yeah.
It's on the list. I'm trying to get through my list of stuff that I'm behind on movie wise. It was good. It was okay. It was pretty intense, pretty gross, but that's kind of the point. Watching a man more or less kill himself.
He bagged the Oscar for that one, yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Was that 23 or 24? Or no, we're doing 24.
I think it was a 22 movie, 23 Oscars.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was good. I don't know her name offhand, but there's his friend essentially, who is, I think she was the sibling of his partner. Yeah. And she was really good, and I could have gone majority of the movie just more of them, kind of her begging him to stop, but she's enabling him. It's I don't know. It was a good movie. Very. I was I need to go for a walk after this one. It just felt kind of sad and gross. But
I kind of had a feeling it was going to be like that based off the trailers at the time, and in a very different way. But similar feeling. I remember watching the Substance trailer, and I was like, I bet this is a good movie, and I bet I'm gonna have a hard time watching it. And The Whale was like that, in that it was I bet this is gonna bum me out. And sometimes
it was a bummer.
Some movies have a kind of a, God, I know how this is gonna sound, but it's true. Some movies have kind of a beautiful sadness to them.
Sure.
Where you're like Lost in Translation.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Or Drive My Car, where it's yeah, but it's beautiful. I don't know if The Whale, I don't know.
It was sad. It was. There was definitely. I do have to say, I'm kind of split on Darren Aronofsky. I like some of his stuff. I'm not sold on all of it, but, there was definitely there's a plot to the movie where he's trying to get his daughter back in his life and all that, and you're how is this going to play? Is this going to be a traditional in the last minute, it's going to be a total flip? She's kind of not a nice person either. They kind of get into why everyone's kind of fucked up and who did what to who, and it takes place over a week. And I just thought the beats was really cool. I'm glad they didn't cartoonishly about an obese person and all that. It wasn't kind of played as a joke. It felt very serious and kind of real, and and whatnot. But it definitely didn't feel like a judgy comedy or anything like that. It felt very a weirdly delicate matter, I guess. And but it was good. I will say I will watch it again one day, because I feel there's a lot of layers to it.
Sure.
And there's a lot of kind of faking out of very obvious kind of, oh, here's the analogy we're trying to go for, and but there's a lot of very hidden deep stuff, and kind of it feels like I think it is based on a play, and it feels like a play, it's all set in his apartment. Yeah, but
I saw Brendan Fraser saying he'd happily return to the Mummy franchise.
Never seen him.
Never say never. Okay, I have a thought. Is that it for your movies?
Yeah.
Why don't we do Severance, and then the front half of the show will be all the live action stuff, and then we can do anime in the back half.
Yeah.
Okay, so Severance Season 2, Episodes 2 and 3. Because I think we only talked about the pilot, because that's all that was out last pod, right?
Yeah. There's every pod will have 2 episodes to talk about.
Man, so I don't even know where to start. Pretty... Okay. Spoiler warnings for Episodes 2 and 3 of Severance, Season 2, Episode 3.
Been almost a week.
Yeah, I think what is shocking me is the pace.
It feels very quick, eh? Feels not breakneck, but it feels they're kind of skipping along.
Especially what happens at the end of Season 2, Episode 3. The big spoiler alert is the Mark reintegrating. Now, who knows how much time?
Scene.
Unbelievable scene.
Yeah.
Who knows how much time this will eat up in the show? Maybe he has After Effects that PD guy did, and that's all of Season 2.
Can I ask you a lore question?
Yeah.
The reintegration, that is a detail I forgot. What is that exactly? I know we've heard it and we know what it does, but I just forget.
It's the idea of smashing together the consciousnesses. So
okay.
like
the innie and the outie.
The innie and the outie, so that PD could remember what his innie saw, and hopefully vice versa.
So he's not. It's not like a case where like he is going to be reversed. Like when he goes in, it's going to be him down in.
So that's not ultra clear yet. Like,
okay,
because PD died from the process, right?
Yes.
I think, but I think Mark, like, I forget that lady's name. Who does the reintegration? I forget.
Oh yeah.
But I think the thing is that when she made it clear that there was a chance, like there, his wife was not dead with all certainty.
Sure.
And that like she may be in there. Like it was pretty wild to see Mark be like, all right, let's fucking go. Like, because remember, like the reason the guy did Severance is because she died. So it's like if she's in there, like yeah, like he's probably game to like risk it and jump in. But yeah, like PD died pretty early. We didn't really get a lot of answers from him, probably for plot reasons. But like, yeah, so it's not ultra clear to me. Like, will Mark just be a singular consciousness now that like still feels that way about Helly, but also is mourning his dead wife who may not be dead? Yeah. So is he just gonna walk in like, hey, and the chip in his brain does nothing at all in the elevator? That's all unclear. All unclear.
I was trying to remember exactly what the reintegration was.
But it's some kind of reversal of the severance procedure. But like to what level of detail, we don't know.
It was funny, like we were watching the scene, like the scene of like him trying to like imprint the message in his eyes, and I'm thinking like, what a creative way of like trying to get an answer down.
Yeah.
And then like immediately like she like knocks down of like, oh, that's just like internet conspiracy stuff that's actually a stupid idea. And I was like, oh, apologies. Like
Well, so at first I agreed. I was like, oh, this is creative.
Yeah.
But like
timing,
the longer
I was trying to figure what he was doing with the timing, and
the more you piece it together, you're like, wait, like to have it imprinted on your eyelids for 2+ minutes, like you're gonna have to burn the shit out of your eyes. Like I think he was gonna find that out the painful way one way or another. But I like that they did that little like deviation of him like giving it a go and working with his sister, who I like more and more, as like the way she tells like this. She more or less tells Milchek to fuck off.
Yep.
And is it Natalie, the girl who comes to the house, who always has the board on the phone?
Yeah.
Like she's pretty cold to the Lumen people, and rightly so. But like I like that she is not fazed by them in any way. God, what else, dude?
I think the biggest in the most recent episode that sticks the most out to me and Leanna, like the two of us were kind of just like in disbelief on the couch. Dylan meeting his wife, like his Odie wife, and like just the levels of how fucked up that is, like because we don't really know like if I think she's just there to kind of like keep him in line more or less, like they're kind of playing to his emotions, but
they're using like,
but there's layers of like she clearly like I think there's like a connection thing where like maybe the Odie is kind of a bum, and she is tired of defending him, but this guy's like so nice and witty and funny, and like because there is like polar opposites, right? Like like the like Irving on the outside is super distrusting and like doesn't trust anyone, and then on the inside he's the most subservient. Like he is like kind of he has like his own like emotions and stances.
Irving's Odie in particular. I mean, Irving and Dylan, they seem to not have a lot in common with their Odies. They're innies and
even look at Mark. Like Mark is so low and so like cynical and against himself, and Mark S is just like like gung ho, like let's do this, like the adventure of it, like the the positivity, like it's a lot of inverses, right? But just the Dylan scene, I was like, this is so messed up.
That was messed up. I really liked in episode 2 Milchek's like quest through the episode of him on his motorcycle and these beautiful shots of him riding through and visiting, firing everybody, and we did the whole reverse, like, okay, we did fire them, then we brought them back, we got confirmation that 5 months did not pass, which is good, because that made not a lot of sense. Also, Audi Irving is clearly up to something. Like he goes to that payphone and makes a call, and then we see Bert is following Audi Irving. We did not get clarification on what the fuck happened at the end of Irving's innie's journey to Bert's house, right?
That's true, yeah.
We know he was pounding on Bert's door, and he knew where Bert lived.
Mm-hmm.
And then we don't know what happened. So it leads me to believe that they probably had some kind of interaction.
Mm-hmm.
But Audi Bert was probably... But I don't know. Audi Bert seems fucking with it. Or Audi Irving seems aware of shit.
Yeah,
like, Milchick showed up, and he was like, what's this about, bro?
Yeah. What do you want?
What do you want? He's painting that shit at home. He has Lumen employee addresses on file in his house.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think Audi Irving is maybe trying to put pieces together.
Mm.
There's
just a second there, Dave. You're lost your video there.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Oh no!
You're like a still image.
First of all, how dare you? Okay, hold on. Well, I guess we can probably just keep talking while I resolve this.
But yeah, no, I don't know. Like and the other thing too, like it's so funny because like the most cartoonish moment in last season was like the stuff with the goat, right? Like it kind of completely caught us off guard. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, like what's going on? Like why are they feeding the goat? And then like they go into this and like I was like, oh, like it was like full blown, like felt like a horror movie for a hot second. The guy with the goat, I was making a joke at the end. I'm like, oh, it's Black Phillip from The Witch. And like as the camera keeps panning, you see it's a face. I'm like, oh, that's like way creepier than like Black Phillip.
The goat thing is super weird, dude. That I like. So I've got some theories I want to run by you. I have nothing for the goat stuff.
No.
I mean, okay, that's not my one thing I said to Sam was like, okay, the only thing I have here is like I didn't like the real world, didn't we clone a goat at one point? And it was like or a sheep, it was like cause of great controversy. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Are we cloning the goats? Are we using...
But like it feels like a little more red herring and stuff because they have the guy who's like, we need to see your stomachs, like, and they're like, oh, there's no pouches, and like they're very aggressive. They assume they're there, to kill them. They're very defensive. Yes. Where they were hiding, I don't know. I was like trying to figure out like, did they come out of the mounds? Like logistically, I was like, how were they so hidden so well?
The pouches things, I said at the time, I was like, oh, like they're curious about the anatomy. Like, what does that tell us? Like, what does that mean? Are they genetically altered? Like, what the fuck does that mean?
Or they're just innies. Also, I don't think we talked about this last podcast, but like how messed up Miss Wong is, the kid.
Yeah, you're right. We haven't talked about her at all. What the hell's going on there?
And like, just it's so funny to see Dylan around her because like the two scenes.
Why are you a kid?
Yeah, why are you a kid? Like, am I in trouble? Are you like, like, just keep asking. She looks very good performance because like very like adult, like annoyed, superior look of like, just can you like shut up and like keep moving? Like it's not like a child performance. It feels like an adult performance.
It feels like an adult in a child's body, which is maybe what's going on. I don't know, but it's very good. I agree.
Mm-hmm. Are they forcing you against your will?
So I'm realizing right now, I put out like a brief like theory on the TikTok and on the Instagram. Mm-hmm. Did you see that?
I didn't actually, no.
Okay. I'll run it through quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we talked about this, but
you hit me with the theory last time, yeah.
I did or did not?
You did, yeah.
Okay.
I think just kind of like your
well, I couldn't have on the pod though, because I only formed it afterwards, I think.
No, but I think you had a theory on what MDR was actually doing and like kind of like what they were kind of showcasing to us.
Yeah, so this connects a little bit. The very brief retelling is that Kier Egan says he found the 4 core tempers that make up a human soul, and those are frolic, woe, malice, and dread. And the theory that I think a common theory is that MDR is doing something that relates to those 4 core tempers because it's shown on screen. At least the abbreviated versions of those words are shown in buckets. And I think that's possible. Mm-hmm. And then also in early season 1, this is an interesting one, when they're onboarding Helly and training her Annie, one thing that they tell her is like, oh, like you have to try and do it like, we want to be efficient because most files expire. And she goes, what? Like, or we don't complete most files. She goes, why wouldn't you complete them? She's like, well, they expire. We only finish like 1 in 5 files. So this led me in a weird way to like my theory of like, I mean, could it be a brain? Like, could they be remapping soul data or consciousness data to a brain that's like going to expire because it's like on ice? I don't know. I recognize that's like a bit of a reach, but this just led me to, especially in episode 2, a lot of episode 2 is when they go back, right? They show you in reverse order what happens to all the Audis, what Milchek is up to, and that it's very clear that Lumen and Patricia Arquette's character, Cobell, like, they want Mark back. Specifically Mark back. They want to give him a raise in pay, and they want him back to finish Cold Harbor. And we know Cold Harbor is in some way related to Gemma, because they show us that on screen.
Yeah.
And they show us that with a bunch of biometric data as well. There's a heartbeat counter there. There's like brainwave activity. Anyway, so the theory is like, is Mark for some reason more likely to complete that macro data refinement on Cold Harbor?
Because it has to do with Gemma.
Because it has to do with Gemma. Like, does his blank slate consciousness, like, even like, does it give him a higher likelihood because he has some kind of subconscious attachment or familiarity with her with whatever makes her up? I don't know, and I don't know why she wouldn't expire because she's fucking walking around. So we know there's a car accident. We know he identified her body. I don't know. I think maybe the long shot theory I've got is like, you know, maybe her body, just like, you know, with an organ donor, maybe, or maybe the inverse. Maybe her body was fine and her brain was dead. So maybe now they're remapping consciousness to the shell. I don't quite know. And then I had like on TikTok or whatever, I was like, okay, and here's the wild theory, right? Is like, Mark's the best job for this. Mark's the best guy for this job in particular because it's his dead wife, right? And then I said, well, what if it's like Neon Genesis Evangelion, where it's like, what if they're all remapping soul data from all of their dead loved ones? Like, what if Dylan's Audi has lost someone?
Oh, okay.
What if...
as you were talking earlier, I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, maybe they all have someone there.
Now, as far as we know, we don't know if they have, but, you know, it could happen. Probably not the most likely, but...
It could give some credence to, like, how skeptical Irving is, or, like, you know, cautious of Lumen in general, like, on the outside, so...
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Anyway, the elevator, we got a cool reveal about, like...
Exports.
Their, exports, which... Lord knows. Also, the scene with Milchek getting, like... the painting, like the special paintings of Kier, like, you know, in like kind of like a mirror to him, and just the scene between him and Natalie of like, you know, him telling her like, this is fucked up, like, and you could see her of like, I know, like, be happy. Yeah, it was very, that was very, very heavy.
I haven't seen that Natalie girl, I don't think, in much else. Her facial expressions are, she communicates like a lot.
Wide eyes, really.
Yeah, and trembling lips and stuff. Like, she's like very good with like showing a lot of emotions at once on her face. Maybe the only other thing is there's this brief encounter between Cobell and Helly's Audi, and we still don't know if her Audi has infiltrated, but hard to say.
Yeah, all the Cobell stuff I'm so like confused on, genuinely.
There's a very particularly weird scene with Cobell because she's kind of off the rails in episode 2 and 3, right? Mark confronts her, she freaks out, drives away, sleeps in her car, goes on who knows what, kind of a bender, comes back, demands to be put back in charge. They say kick rocks. And then Helly has a bar on her. I think she says, I think you've overestimated your contributions and underestimated your blessings, which is bars.
Cold.
And then... she says, I think we need a reset. Why don't we call the board and have a meeting? And it looks like they're gonna. And then Cobell dips. And I think there's theories on this, but
okay.
My thought initially is like she was following Helly to the car until she saw the security guard. And then she was like, I'm fucking out of here. And my only thought is like,
she knew they were just gonna ice her, or
either that, or did she know? Like, did his presence indicate that she was in danger? like to your point, or was it? Did she maybe know that guy and now he's a blank slate? She's like, oh shit, I'm about to get like wiped.
I didn't read that as her like seeing him and being fearful.
Yeah.
I saw maybe, maybe like she knows like what happens to Gemma. Why she's down there and not up here. Like maybe
she knows.
Like, I'm sure like there could be a million reasons of like why like don't go into the spooky building that you can't get out of.
Yeah.
But I didn't take it as like seeing a guy in particular. I think he was just kind of like the security guard, like watching her, and it was her kind of like looking out towards and back. But I don't know. I think she's plotting more. Or my thought initially was I think she's gonna go find Mark.
Right.
She does not like being spurned at all.
Yeah.
You ever had her meltdown at the end of season 1?
Yeah.
I think just the way Hallie spoke to her, she's probably like, no, screw this. I'm gonna go find whoever, and maybe she's like a evil intent, or malevolent intent, trying to help out, Mark and whatnot. But I don't know, not too sure.
Tricky one. Yeah, she's a particularly tricky one because she'd make a really powerful ally for Mark, but she seems devoutly obsessed with the cure stuff. So it's like it's a hard sell seeing her going away from Lumen, but maybe like going against Helly.
Yeah, not necessarily like against Lumen, against her personally, but
yeah. There's also some theories out there that I think are possible that one thing that is clear is if Milchek, like I don't know if Milchek is severed at all, right? Because he's visiting people's homes. So is Cobell.
Yeah, I think he's like a regular employee.
So it makes you wonder if at one point they were, and did they earn something? And then in those instances, if you get some kind of promotion, like management position, does your innie just become your outie? Do they just have you on perma override? Do they reintegrate you?
Ooh,
like how did he get that? Or was he never severed to begin with? Very
Speaking of which, there's the interview that Dylan had, and it was all going super well. He's trying to get a job in the second episode, and they mentioned he's severed, and the guy just like total flip the switch, and I was like, that would be tough, Like,
absolutely, yeah. Also, fun fact for you and the listener, the guy Dan Erickson who came up with the series came up with it while working at a door factory because he hated his job so much.
Wow.
And that interview was at a door factory.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And maybe he came up with the idea of being severed at it. I don't know, but he said he was inspired by his work at a door factory.
Wow.
Which is interesting. Anyway, man, this is the best thing on TV right now.
It's incredible. Like
I can't believe how gorgeous it is.
I watch it and I'm just
devastated.
I'm just like I think about it and think and like in the moment too. You're just like, I saw it was an hour long. This most recent episode. I was like, sweet, an extra 10 minutes of this. So down. Like,
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
We're
talking about the other best thing on TV right now.
On anime TV.
Yeah.
Solo leveling.
Crap.
This shit's so wild.
It is like injected shit straight into my veins. It's so good. I think they're doing a way better job even already at this point in the season. Even in the first season, there was like lulls. There was like an episode of like no action, no this. It's a perfect blend of like talky this, a little bit of lore this, and then like straight into the juice. Like every episode so far has had really like think back to the best looking scene in season 1, like the snake boss fight at the end of episode 3 or 4. That was a highlight.
The ending where he gets Igris and
like the ending is like really good, but like we're on like
boss fight.
Every episode is like boss fight level, or animation kind of, it's just I'm so into it. Like, did you see so there's the whole like the stuff with the one hunter and she smells.
Yes.
And she can't do you see Axe body spray they did like a collab?
No, they didn't.
I'm pretty sure. I thought I was like, oh, this might be like just like someone's memeing online, but apparently it's true. Yeah,
that's funny.
I smell like Sun Jin-woo.
The ultimate chat. I mean, like,
it's so funny.
Yeah. So yeah, I love this show. Like, dude, like, it's a good show when this happens more with anime because anime is so short.
Yeah.
But like, where I'm like checking the time remaining because I'm like, fuck, I don't want this to end. Like, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so leveling is amazing. I don't know if there's any major plot like this orc thing at the end of episode 17.
Sure.
It's clearly the beginning of a new arc.
Mm-hmm.
But with this show, you don't know if that's going to be a 3-episode arc or not. Chances are
next episode.
Chances are he's gonna fucking ice everybody next episode.
Well, just the whole scene of like him stepping in and saving everybody, and
that was sick.
You know, and also like the really cool the detail of the one party member, the magic user, like clocking and thing. Like, does he think we're stupid? Like, we totally see him using stealth magic. It just kind of goes to show like he is kind of brute forcing his way. Yeah. You know, like through this, and he's not like the minutia of all that. Like he's kind of missing a lot of that stuff because he even said he's not a gamer, right? Like, you know, it was kind of like a new system to him, and the concepts are kind of new to him. But him stepping in, and then I was expecting like full blown, like right off the bat, like, you know, the second the orc showed up at the end of the portal, him jumping right in. Yeah, I do think the other hunter's going to pop in, is my guess, because it's not blocked off on the outside.
Oh, right. Yeah, like just another group. Yeah.
The girl there, the stench woman.
Yeah, because she's S rank too, right?
Yeah, she's one. She's the 9th. He's the 10th.
Do you get any vibes of a potential romance arc between the two of them?
Oh, I think that's that's a given.
Yeah, okay. So I don't think we've really had that yet. That's not true. There's been like flirtatious stuff throughout the show.
The sister's friend. Yeah. They kind of teed that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so then
it's just dialed up, man. Like.
Yeah.
You know.
It's incredibly fun to watch.
I thought it was a cool detail of like the wolves from the first episode or the second episode show up. When he first goes, like, he first gets the powers, the player powers. He goes into the dungeon, and the first thing he encounters is those red wolves.
Yes.
And, you know, them popping up, and everyone's like, oh, like, what are these doing here? They shouldn't, and then, you know, they clock all that, but I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Yeah. And just, like, I like the captain and kind of the setup, like, they're taking, like, it's, like, just a little moment of, like, oh, like, you know, I want to prove myself, and, like, he kind of feels like he's going to be around more.
This is definitely the first, especially before the high orcs like showed up.
Yeah.
But this is definitely the most like well-oiled machine, like rating team we've seen of like high level. Because you know, you're along for the ride with him. Like now, this is his first A-rank dungeon with a group, right?
Yep.
So it was cool to see like other high-level hunters do high-level hunter type stuff.
I love the taunt. Gets me every time.
Yeah, the taunt is sick. I'm very curious to see what happens with this dad.
That seems like a big end of the season stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's it for that.
Still keeping up Sakamoto days.
Yep. They had a little dual episode arc here, episode 3 and 4. We had the Hitman. We've got Hitman coming after Sakamoto in the.
Still got another one. There's one more left.
Okay. Wait. Yeah. Another episode to this arc, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But we're at the like a theme park carnival type thing. Yeah, I have been enjoying it. It hasn't like blown me away. Your wife was telling me it might be worth checking out the manga.
The manga's incredible, yeah.
But like,
there's been like also too. It was kind of leaked today that they're having some. I haven't told Leanna this yet. She's not gonna love it, but there's been some production issues apparently behind the scenes. They're struggling a little bit. Which is kind of baffling considering like the way it looks, but whatever. I'm not an animator. You know, they get overworked. I'm not gonna get in on that, but like you know, there's been a lot of panels kind of from the manga floating around of like comparing like you know scenes and all that, and you know like it's been a minute since I've read it, but like that was my biggest takeaway, just how like detailed in the action, like the fight scenes in particular, and just to see like the side by sides of like oof. Yeah, it's quite like the show. Like it's a very dialed in series. Like lots and lots of detail, even in like the little stuff. And you know, and it's just you know like you're like oh yeah, I guess like, I could see why there is like legitimate complaints from people. But
interesting.
But like I'm still enjoying it. Like the comedy's great. I'm accustomed to the voice acting now. Everyone kind of fits. But,
yeah. No, I don't have a ton more to say about it, but I'm having fun with it. What I will tell you is just because as an FYI. Because you had asked me about this a while ago. Like, it seems... I don't really know what the plans are. I don't know if you've heard, and I haven't looked into it. But, like, Dragon Ball Daima is, like, definitely nearing at least...
20 episodes, they said.
Total? Or do we know? Okay.
I think that was what got leaked, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's nearing its conclusion of its arc for sure. And I was like, I wonder if...
I heard it one of the worst Dragon Ball fights.
One of the worst?
Yeah. There's a lot of talk about a recent episode, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. People were pretty disappointed with it.
I genuinely can't remember. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, must not left an impression on you then. So
no, it
could
didn't.
just be internet complaining.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I think my takeaway is that it's unlike any Dragon Ball project they've done, but I consider that a good thing. Like, I consider it like a welcome change. They're definitely like treading on some ground that previous series have touched. That's kind of like what would have happened with Toriyama, is like they would do like non-canon shit, and then later on he'd come around and be like, oh, I'm gonna do that but better, and I'll make it canon. And like they've done it like with GT, like turning them into kids. I wonder where he got that idea. No, but you know what I mean. But like it has radically changed the dynamics of the show in like a positive way, making it much more adventure friendly. It reminds me a lot more of Dragon Ball, the original series, in a positive way. Again, I like what they're doing, and it looks great.
Right now.
Yeah, dude. I don't think I have a lot more. I did see just last pieces of news. I'm seeing rumors on Demon Slayer. First movie rumored September, with a international release only 5 days later, which would be like a massive improvement.
Yeah,
over the first
5 days. I can deal with 5 days.
Yeah, so that is like an absolute rumor. So that would be great. Denis Villeneuve, your boy, is writing the next Dune movie right now.
He put his he was going to do a nuclear apocalypse movie next, and he shelved that. He's doing Dune.
Which is, he said he couldn't get it out of his mind or whatever, or maybe there's studio pressure, who knows. But
that's a big old truck of money, I think.
Yeah. Still, we were talking about the Oscars earlier. I still think it is absurd that he wasn't nominated for director.
No, I know. It's crazy. The AOT movie comes out next week.
Yeah.
We are getting it. I've been getting
really?
pushes from Cineplex.
Will you see it?
Yeah, I think so. If I can put the time aside, that would be.
Yeah.
I know there's like an extra scene, but I think it's just like a little epilogue thing. But
for sure.
Just to see it kind of all blending together, and
might be fun.
A lot of those shots cleaned up.
That's a good point. Maybe because when's in next chance I'll get to see that. And
I think it comes out February 10th. Is the so it'd be it's Monday. That's not right.
Yeah,
maybe it's like a week stretch. Anyways, but yeah, that would be fun to see.
Yeah, you're probably right. And this whole like Henry Cavill working on this Warhammer series, official green light. So like they're moving ahead, I think, into pre-prod or production or whatever it is. But yeah, that's all the news I got.
Right now.
Anything else, my friend?
No, that's it. It was a light week. Had to dip into the last week's movies.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, we'll be back in a couple weeks with more Severance, more Sakamoto Days, more Solo Leveling, and hopefully a couple more Oscar flicks. Maybe Grant and I will try and coordinate which ones we watch, because I think we can't have many.
I think Anora. Anora's a good one.
Let's both aim for Anora. I still haven't seen Wicked, but you have, right?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, but I have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll aim for a couple. If there's anything, any you think we should prioritize, let us know. Thank you for listening. I haven't plugged any of our social media yet. We're on TikTok, Instagram. You can subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, etc. at Part-Time Otaku Podcast in all of those places. Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next week for our next episode. Grant, go ahead, say the thing.
Bye, guys.